I start getting more and more questions around chapter 7, and it just gets worse from there. At 1097b, he kind of explains his understanding of the eudaimonia. This is the happiness that he talks about through the whole book. It sounds to me that inner peace would be a better candidate to fill the role he has eudaimonia in. In support of my argument, a little bit further down, he basically says that eudaimonia is the ultimate goal, and you couldn't add other goods to it, because then the ultimate goal would be eudaimonia plus 1. A sort of Zen inner peace would fit better than eudaimonia in this case, because the addition of goods like money and such don't affect your inner state, so that you could be happy and have money, or be happy and not have money. It's just a different use of the same idea. He then compares carpenters and eyes to man in regard to their function. He kind of just assumes that man has a designated function like the carpenter or the eye. I definitely don't understand how he gets to virtue as a designated function of man, but I'll talk about that later when he addresses it. I think the argument he gives in 1098a is flawed in that it sounds exactly like a George Carlin routine, which concludes that the meaning of life is plastic. It goes through this whole string of pollution and stuff, and then basically gets to the conclusion that Mother Earth created us so that we could make plastic for her. Also, in chapter 7, he compares a musician to man. He says that a musician plays music, a good musician plays music well. And then he says, man does things, and a good man does virtuous things. This is the first time he really addresses virtue directly, and it looks like he just takes it as a given. This seems like an artificial and contrived jump to me. If he had defined virtue as the actualization of one's potential, I would definitely like it. For example, my brother is physically strong and a good pragmatic puzzle solver. He's a Marine. His virtue would be something like being the best Marine that he could be, whereas I'm smart and nerdy, so mine would be being the best philosopher I could be, or something like that. If we traded jobs, neither of us would be exhibiting virtue, in that I'd be trying to manifest attributes that I don't have, and vice versa. But as is, Aristotle outlines virtue as this set of rules that basically outline how to be a good Athenian. I like be thyself, be happy, as opposed to Aristotle's be this arbitrary social model of behavior, be happy. Chapter 8 is basically an appeal to Athenian culture to bolster his assertions about virtue. The only 2 points I really want to take out of this chapter is the point where he says, if you make yourself enjoy virtue, virtue will make you happy, therefore virtue is happiness. Not only is that tautological, but it also ignores 2 key elements. First, the same argument could be made for torturing small animals. If you make yourself enjoy torturing small animals will make you happy. Therefore, torturing small animals is happiness. Second, it ignores intrinsic desires. Going back to my brother and I, we both have different hardwired desires which go in different directions, usually oriented to our strengths. He is physically strong. He enjoys becoming physically stronger. I'm nerdy. I intrinsically enjoy becoming nerdier. Whereas Aristotle's version just imposes a set code on us, and I don't think that works as well. He also says that good and bad fortune impact your happiness. I think that inner peace would be a solely internal state, so fortune wouldn't change your inner peace, which again goes back to strengthen my argument that, you know, a Zen inner peace sort of arrangement is better than the Greek eudaimonia. Chapter 9 just revisits the idea that young people can't do virtue because they're hedonistic retards. That's all I need to say. Now, the reason this video is coming out this afternoon and not yesterday morning is Chapter 10. If anybody was confused before getting this far, just skip chapters 10 and 11. They're definitely written for an Athenian audience. I was hung up on the first paragraph of 10 for a whole friggin' day. As it turns out, you have to read the whole chapter in order to make sense of it. The first paragraph basically says that things my descendants do after I die impact my happiness now. He gets there by saying, as he does in De Anima, that once you're dead, and that's it. He doesn't really have an afterlife. So the popular idea, as it was in Athens at the time, that my descendants influence my afterlife must only apply to me when I'm around to experience the result. Then he kind of flip-flops and says that it would be weird if the actions of our descendants didn't affect our posthumous happiness. In order to address it, he talks about how fortune impacts you while you're alive. He says that good things happen, so take advantage of them. He also says that bad stuff happens, and you gotta deal with it. Not insensitively like a Stoic, but more like a resigned Christological figure. The next paragraph made me laugh, though, because it basically sounded like, if life gives you lemons, make lemonade. If life gives you shitty lemons, make shitty lemonade. Chapter 11 was basically a way of saying, I was just kidding. Dead people have already lived their lives, and they're either happy or they weren't. At the start of Chapter 10, and all this descendants crap is just BS. Then Chapter 12 draws a distinction not yet seen between virtue and happiness. Basically, virtue is praiseworthy because it's something you choose to do, but happiness is something simply to be desired because it happens. And Chapter 13 is a return to pleasure to the beasts, politics to the fool, philosophy to the intelligent. That's Book 1. Hopefully next week will be Book 2 and maybe some responses to what people thought about this video on Book 1. If anyone out there on internet land has anything to say about this video, please do. Either in the comments down below, in the Facebook group, or preferably a response video. If anybody lives in the Denver area or knows anyone out here who would enjoy joining us on the first Sunday of June, that would be even more awesome. The music today was provided by Corey Weber. If any artists want to have their compositions showcased in this little video series, go ahead and email me at danteinferno04@yahoo.com. Have a great week.